Welcome to Whispers After Dark. Tonight's story is a special one. A relationship born from instinct, tangled in loneliness, and bound by a kind of love neither dared to name. My name is Ethan, 29 years old, a civil engineer. I'm single, and to most, there's nothing remarkable about me. It may be a smile that makes people assume I'm the nice guy. But deep down, I know I'm not that innocent. It all began on a rainy afternoon. I had just moved out of my old apartment in District 8. The place was falling apart. I found a small, quiet house tucked deep inside an alley in Tan PH. The owner was a woman named Claire, 7 years older than me. She was divorced, with a daughter living with her grandmother in the countryside. Claire had a kind of beauty that was hard to define, not striking, not glamorous, but quietly captivating. There was sadness in her eyes, softness in her smile, and something about her presence made it hard to look away. Even the first time I came to pick up the key, I found myself watching her a little too long. The place I rented was separate from her main house, but we shared the kitchen and laundry area. Sometimes when Claire passed through the kitchen, she'd be wearing a thin t-shirt and loose shorts. Her hair tied up, but a few damp strands always slipped down her neck, sticking to her skin with sweat. I'd try not to stare, but my mind, it didn't always listen. I told myself, "Don't be stupid, you're just a tenant." Crossing that line would only bring trouble. But everything changed one night. When the power went out, there was a storm. Thunder cracked across the sky. The whole neighborhood lost electricity. I stepped outside with a flashlight, and there she was, Claire, sitting on the porch with a pillow in her lap, her face lit faintly by the glow of her phone screen. She looked fragile and alone. She saw me and said, "Come sit. It's cooler out here. Your room must be stuffy." I sat next to her, careful to keep my distance. But then she asked me something real. "Do you ever feel lonely, living by yourself? Have you ever fallen in love?" And then, her voice softened. "Have you ever wanted someone so badly? You just needed to feel their touch, even if it's only once." She told me that divorce doesn't erase desire. There were nights, she said, when she felt starved. Not for sex, but for closeness. For arms to hold her. For warmth. I didn't dare look at her directly, but the scent of her damp hair, the heat from her arm brushing mine, rattled me. Then she turned to me and asked quietly, "Have you ever been with someone much older than you?" I didn't answer, but the way I looked at her was louder than any words I could have said. She rested her head on my shoulder. My heart was pounding. Between reason and desire I could feel the scale tipping. I knew she was lonely. And I wasn't heartless. "If you want to," she said, "I won't stop you. But just once, okay?" I leaned in and kissed her softly, like the first breeze of spring. But when she sighed and wrapped her arms around my neck, I knew there would be no just once. I don't remember how we even began, only that at some point, she climbed onto my hazy like smoke, lips trembling as she whispered, maybe more to herself than to me, "I've been holding it in for too long." I held her by the waist. My lips traced her skin slowly. This wasn't just about sex. She needed to feel wanted, cherished, alive again. And maybe I did too. By the time our bodies tangled, sweaty, warm, and desperate, I knew for sure. This wasn't pity. I wanted her. The next morning, I woke up to find her sitting at the edge of the bed, her back to me. Her voice was distant. "Go back to your room, Ethan. Let's just pretend nothing happened. Don't let me get weak again." She stood up, dressed quietly, and left without looking back. The way she avoided my gaze, it hurt, not because she rejected me, but because in that moment, I felt like a mistake. I told myself, maybe it really would be just once, like Claire said. But the harder I tried to stay away, the deeper I sank into her. I still saw her every day. Watching her walk past the kitchen in those thin pajamas neckline, slipping, damp hair, smelling of shampoo, that elegant curve of her back glistening with sweat. I'd turn away, but my mind couldn't stop playing it over and over. And I knew, if I got close again, I wouldn't be able to stop. And then, it happened. That night, I walked into the kitchen and saw her washing dishes. Her hair was tied up loosely, and her thin shirt clung to her back. She turned, caught my gaze. We both froze. "Don't look at me like that." Her voice was soft, not scolding, more like a confession. "I'm not looking," I said. "I just think you're beautiful." She laughed quietly, a little shy, a little sad. "A single mom, divorced, 7 years older than you. What's beautiful about that?" I stepped forward, gently placed a hand on her hip. "It's beautiful that you drive me insane every time I see you." She didn't pull away. Instead, her trembling hand touched my chin, pulling me in. Her lips found mine soft and warm, like she'd just cried. The second time, we didn't need a bed. We didn't need words, just feeling. Claire wrapped her arms around my neck, holding me like if she let go, she might never feel that closeness again. I kissed her shoulder, breathing her in. Each suppressed moan made me ache to protect her, made me want to keep her for myself. From then on, we became like shadows snaking through our own home. Stolen moments in the dark. On the couch, under the shower, even on the staircase. Each time was different, but always the same. She'd bite her lip to keep from crying out. And I never stopped. Even when I'd reached the edge, I kept going. Once, when it was over, she wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I like the way you keep going, even after you've finished. It makes me feel like I'm still wanted." That hit something deep in me, because I knew, for her, this was never just physical. It was loneliness. It was abandonment. It was a hunger to feel needed. Deeply, completely. And that scared me. I was afraid she might fall for me. And I couldn't give her what she truly deserved. A man who could walk through life with her. That night, after we made love, she didn't hold me like usual. She turned away and whispered, "From tomorrow on, don't touch me again." I sat up, stunned. "Why? Are you tired of me?" She gave a sad smile, shook her head. "No, it's because I'm starting to want to keep you. And that's dangerous." I didn't know what to say. She was afraid of attachment. And I was afraid of breaking her heart. From that day, I avoided her. Left early, came home late, skipped dinner. But every time I saw her watering the plants outside, or heard her flip-flops shuffling past my door, I felt empty. One night, I was half asleep when I heard a soft knock. It was her, hair down, eyes red, wearing nothing but a silk nightgown. "Can I borrow you, just for a little while?" she asked. I nodded. Minutes later, we were together again. No kisses, no sweet words, just heat, urgency, craving. And every time I tried to pull out, she held me close, whispering, "Don't stop, please. Just keep going." The next morning, as always, she said, "Go back to your room. Pretend nothing happened." But this time, I didn't look away. I looked at her, really looked, and I knew. We were tangled now, not just in body, but in feelings, and in the hollow spaces only the other could fill. I started to feel jealous, not just lustful, not just curious, but jealous. Like a man truly in love. Me, someone with no title, no claim yet, burning with unease, the moment I saw Claire standing at the front of the house, laughing and chatting with another man. His name was Liana, new neighbor. Older, handsome, polished. He had that calm, charming way of speaking that could disarm anyone. I watched him hand her a bag of pomelos. They stood there smiling, talking for what felt like forever, long enough that I couldn't take it. I slammed my door shut. That night, I didn't go home. I went out drinking with friends. I got drunk, and before I knew it, I was standing at Claire's door. No idea why. She opened it. Her eyes were puffy. Maybe she'd had a drink, too. "You've been drinking?" she asked, softly. "Come in. I'll make you some ginger tea." I walked inside. We didn't speak. She just tucked a blanket over me and turned to leave. "Claire," I called out. She stopped, but didn't turn around. "You like him, don't you?" There was a pause. "Yeah, he's kind." I bit my lip. What I felt in that moment was the raw, selfish possessiveness of a man in love. I hate seeing you smile like that with someone else, especially when that's the same smile you used to give me. She turned, then walked toward me, looking straight into my eyes. She leaned down and said, "So what if you don't like it? What are you to me?" It felt like a slap. I didn't answer. I just pulled her into me, kissed her hard, desperate, rough, overflowing with everything I couldn't say. She resisted for a second, and then she gave in. This time I wasn't gentle. I lifted her up, sat her on the vanity table, tore open her thin nightgown, and whispered against her ear, "You're mine. You hear me?" She gasped, eyes brimming with tears. But she didn't stop me. Her legs wrapped around my waist, pulling me closer. We clung to each other like two people trying to salvage the last piece of peace in a chaotic world. This time, it wasn't just sex. It was the weight of everything unsaid. I moved deep within her, strong, yet reverent. She bit her lip, eyes blurred, and I knew she was holding something back, something close to breaking. Afterwards, she whispered, "I've been trying to date someone new. Please, don't come around anymore." It felt like my entire chest had been emptied. "Why? You just told me you loved me." "It's because of last night that I'm afraid," she said. "You're too young, and me, I'm too broken. A woman like me isn't meant to fall in love anymore." I was speechless. For the first time in my life, I felt powerless. Not in the bedroom, but in love. I planned to move out, to run away from every memory we'd made. But then, I heard her crying. Late one night, her soft sobs came through the wall. I knocked. She opened the door. "Leon broke up with me," he said. "I'm still hung up on someone else." I held her. At first, just to give her something to lean on. But then, her lips found mine. This time, she led everything. Claire pushed me down, climbed on top, every movement tender, but hungry. She eased herself onto me, began to move. "Stay still, okay? Let me," she whispered. I nodded, hands resting on her hips. The warm lamplight painted her skin gold. Her eyes closed, her lips pressed tight. And each time she sank onto me, I melted deeper into her warmth. This wasn't lust. It was love, pure and aching. When it ended, I whispered, "Let's be together. I don't care about the age difference." She turned away. "Don't ruin what little peace I have left." I wrapped my arms around her from behind, my voice hoarse. "But we already know each other so deeply. How is it that I still can't keep you?" She stayed quiet for a long time, then finally said, "Because my heart was never truly open to you. You filled a space I couldn't face. But if we start something now, I'm afraid I'll lose you for good." 3 weeks later, she texted me, "I canceled the wedding, not because of you, but because I couldn't lie to either of us anymore. I didn't respond. I just showed up at her place. She was sitting outside, head against the wall, eyes red. "What are you doing here?" she asked. I sat down beside her. "I came to take you home with me." She broke down, covered her mouth with both hands, as if trying to hold everything in. But her whole body shook, releasing years of weight all at once. She pulled me inside. We didn't speak. We just kissed slow, gentle, like it was the first time we ever fell in love. From that night on, Claire no longer avoided me. It wasn't some secret affair anymore. No longer something bound by the night or by desire. We started again bit by bit like two grown-ups, learning how to love the right way. She moved in. No dramatic declarations, no long explanations. Just folded her clothes, packed her books into boxes, and quietly brought her life into mine. I watched in silence. My eyes stung a little, but my heart felt light, like I had just walked out of a long, exhausting rainstorm. We rented a bigger place, our own kitchen, our own laundry, and a small table just big enough for the two of us to sit across from each other every morning. She quit teaching and opened a small coffee shop, not to make money, but to prove to herself that she was still alive, still capable of building something with her own two hands. She named the shop Stay, a short word, but it said so much, because once upon a time we lived like two people who came, then stayed. Now, we stayed for each other, for a love that was brave enough to last. Every morning I rode her to the market. Every night I helped wash the dishes. And for the first time in my life, I understood that love didn't need to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes, it's enough just to wake up and still find that person beside you. One rainy night, Claire came home soaked. Her motorbike had broken down on the way back. I wrapped her in a towel, my hands trembling as I dried her hair. She sat in my lap, wearing my white shirt, no bra, no panties. That soft, familiar body, now mine, completely, quietly, with nothing left to hide. I leaned down, kissed the place that used to drive me wild. But this time, no moaning, no rush, just the sound of our breath, moving through each other, like we were always meant to belong together. She cried as I entered her, not from pain but from happiness. "I never thought I'd feel this again," she whispered, "to be loved, like I'm the only woman left in the world." I held her close, kissed her shoulder, and whispered back, "No matter how many times you pushed me away, Claire, I'll always stay, not to claim you, but to be with you, because I love you for exactly who you are. Your softness, your honesty, the very heart I fell for." We got married. No big wedding, no fancy dress, just a simple white gown she sewed herself, a shirt and tie for me, a tiny bouquet. We stood alone on a quiet morning beach, just the two of us, waves crashing, sea breeze whispering blessings that needed no words. I slipped a silver ring onto her finger, not expensive, but a symbol of a love that had fought through lust, through fear, through all the wrongs. To get to this right, no more trying, I whispered. Just staying together. That night, on our wedding night, she was the one who led. No wild games, just soft kisses, slow touches, the gentle hands of a woman who had finally found peace in love. She kissed down my chest, and then sat on top of me, lowly, deeply, fully. "You don't have to do anything tonight," she murmured. "Let me love you." Every movement she made said, "There's nothing left I'm hiding. This love is yours." 3 years later, we opened another shop, called Miss Two. Our regulars now know Claire used to be a teacher. Now, she's a cafe owner. And my wife? They joke I'm the lucky young man who bagged the prettiest woman in the neighborhood. And every morning, I still take her to the market. Every night, I still hold her to sleep. Not because she won't let go after coming anymore, but because I don't want a single night to pass without touching the woman I love. Thank you for listening until the very end. Some love stories start with lust, with moments that seem wrong, messy, impulsive. But if there's enough honesty, enough care, enough courage, even the most fragile connection can become the warmest kind of home. If you enjoyed this story, still staying after coming, please subscribe to Whispers After Dark and turn on the bell icon for more stories that touch the deepest corners of your heart.